It's a funny sort of advent calendar, isn't it? Usually you build up and up to the final nativity scene, but we saw that was day 10 of our advent calendar. But as we know, Christmas didn't end with Jesus being born, did it? In some ways, I think Christmas is both the beginning and the end. Christmas was the end of all of that waiting and wondering. When would God fulfill his promise to send a saviour? Who would it be? All that hope, all those ordinary people through the whole of history, facing all of those desperate situations of captivity and slavery and homelessness and hunger. But each person carrying that little fire of hope, God will make this right again. And all those people who lived in more peaceful times, going around their daily business, they were cooking and working and raising their families. But each one with that same fire of hope in their heart, that this is good, but God will make this better. I wonder if you can picture it. I see all these thousands and millions of people, just like dark figures stood there, but each one with that little fire in their heart. And here is this thing that they've all been hoping for. One small baby born to an unmarried teenager who was probably terrified, in labour, away from her family, in pain, sat in a dirty stable, surrounded by animals and all sorts of really disgusting things. And there she is, and she's got to have this baby all on her own. Can you imagine how terrifying that must have been? And then there's Joseph, this first-time father of a baby that's not even his. He's probably got all of these doubts about what actually happened. Is this really God's baby? And then there's this tiny little helpless baby, not surrounded by loving grandparents and aunts and uncles and cousins, but visited instead by the outcasts of society, because that's what shepherds were. All that hope, all of those people through all the years with a little fire of hope in their heart, it all comes down to this moment and these parents and these visitors. What a scary and painful and lonely moment it must have been. I wonder if Christmas feels a little like that to us this year. Scary and painful and lonely. All that hope burning away, and this is what we get. It seems like that hope is going to fizzle and go out, and I think a lot of us feel that way about our own hope this year. But the thing about hope, and I don't say this lightly or without heaviness in my own heart, but the thing about hope is that it really does shine brightest in the dark. All of that hope, every one of those little sparks of hope over all the years, all of those people, it all shines in this baby. Not in a palace where we might be distracted by all of the other things that are shining around, but in a stable, in muck and squalor, where we can't help but see it. This year, our Christmas seems to have been stripped away, rather, doesn't it? No huge family gatherings, no rushing around seeing everyone that we can, no going to 6 different carol services. And we find ourselves with our own little Christmases at home, missing our friends, missing our family traditions maybe, wishing that we could sing and celebrate, smiling our Christmas greetings at each other from behind our masks. I think maybe we all feel that our hope is small and insignificant this year. I know that I do. But no matter how different it's going to be, and particularly after yesterday's announcement, where we were told we just have that one day to see our families, despite all of that, in our quieter than usual, maybe a little less happy than usual, a little darker than usual Christmases, the hope that Jesus brings shines all the brighter. The hope of all of those years, it didn't fizzle out in that cold, dark, dirty stable. It grew and grew into this great shining beacon, that wonderful hope that one day God would make everything right again. That incredible promise. And that's a promise that we know will happen because Jesus came to earth. The hope shines brightest in the dark.